Okay, now the next step here is to take the case here, get like a Clorox wipe or something equivalent. You'll see there's all this like glue residue. You just gotta rub it on here and that will come right off. It takes a little bit of elbow grease and it takes a good while, but eventually I'll be able to get all this off without a problem. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and then yeah, I'll be right back to you and we'll start getting all the support stuff out. And then in the next part, I will take the Nintendo 64 apart and actually be putting it in this case. So let me first get the glue off and we'll go from there. Okay, now we have this Nintendo 64 console and we're going to go ahead and take this apart because it's got to go into the new shell. So let me see if I can get a screwdriver here and pull out the jumper pack. I believe you just have to kind of wedge something in here and just, yeah, there we go. See, not too much of a big deal. There's the jumper pack. That was from my original Nintendo 64, and this one came like legitimately how I'm holding it in my hand right now, nothing. So I think it's the bigger of the two. I've never taken any console that's not a original NES apart. I think there would have been a screw at this area here, but it's kind of legit missing. Yep, it is this one. It feels like it's this one. Let's go ahead and put that in the little screwdriver here and see if it comes apart. Yeah, there it goes. It's taking it out. So we just have to get a bunch of screws out of the bottom here, and then we can take the top of this off. There was one design of this that allowed you to just use these screws, but I kind of thought the idea of using the magnets was a bit easier because then you don't have to put screws into 3D printed material, and if you end up opening that up all the time, you'll end up getting everything kind of messed up. Looks like there's 3 on the front, and I think that's all. As I said, other than an NES, I've never taken apart any other Nintendo console, so this is kind of a first for me. I'm sure this thing is going to be really, really, really dusty, because it's something somebody traded in at my local used game store, and they might have had it sitting for a while, and then the dude just gave it to me. So who knows where this thing has lived all these years. Okay, there we go. Now we've gotten all the screws out, I believe. Oh, these things just legitimately fall out. I didn't know that. Well, the other one doesn't because it's kind of stuck. Yeah, it's a little bit yucky. So there's one. The top is off. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a Phillips screwdriver, take all these screws out of this and get the board out, and then we're going to clean it up a bit and then put it in our new case because, yeah, we don't want to have this disgusting bit of disgustingness here in our new case. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. And, well, let me see. Do I have a good Phillips screwdriver here? Yeah, this one looks pretty good. So let's see. Probably have to take the screws for the ports out, which are going to be these guys here. Oh, good. They're not too tight. Because I'd imagine these are directly into the case. And if I look at my case here, yeah, you can see there are screw posts by the 2 ports. And then it's like 1, 2, and I don't know where those other ones are. Okay, we'll have to figure that out. But it looks like one's missing here. That's kind of weird, unless somebody's been in this before. But we'll use all the screws we can to get this thing in our new case. There's one. And I'm going to go ahead and take these off camera because it'll be a little bit like not so boring for you. Okay, well, I got all of the screws out of the case. So here's our board. I cleaned it up a little, and this is the little light thing that was in the bottom of the case. So we're gonna basically take our bottom case here, put the little light thing in it so it'll look good when the light lights up. If I can get the little light pipe kind of into the actual crevice here. Maybe. But let me see if there's any. Yeah, there's a little bit of material that's kind of making that not happen. So let me just get my clipper here and then just kind of work it through the actual hole here, because it's kind of, there's a little bit of extra plastic that's kind of there. You just got to get it out and see if we can get the factory light pipe in there. So the little light from the Nintendo 64 will actually shine through this. Let me maybe just get a little screwdriver. And of course, immediately when I grab the screwdriver, the bit just falls right off. But basically what we're going to try to do here is get the material that's kind of blocking our way here out of the way, so it will fit in here. Because you got to remember, when you 3D print something, it's not going to be perfect, because it's legitimately a 3D printer is just melting plastic and forming it into a shape. So that's one thing to always remember. Even though Elegoo has their commercials, some of the commercials act like 3D printing is like the most nerdy thing in the world, but then some of them act like, oh, well, your grandma's just gonna like print off a cup holder or something tomorrow because that's what she does. So it's like they have a very mixed messaging. Is 3D printing for everybody, or is 3D printing just for some people? Yeah, I can see there's still a little bit of material in here, just in the one side here. That's just kind of keeping it from getting in there. Basically, what I'm doing here is I'm just taking the clipper and I'm just taking a little bit of that material out in hopes to fit our factory light pipe in there. Because it made a pretty good opening for it, but it didn't make it perfectly because, as I said, it's just a 3D printer. Okay, and it feels like it's kind of making its way in there. Well, I'm gonna mess about with this a bit more and see if I can get this light pipe fitted, and then we'll put the board in the case. Okay, now I got everything pretty much situated here. This is our result here. The light pipe is kind of in there. I might have to mess with it a bit more to get it in there right, but I'm gonna first put the screws around the expansion pack connector in, because they're the smallest ones. Do I have the right? I'm not even sure if I have the right bit in here. No, this is the really, really, really little one. I think it's this one. Yeah, that's the right one to have in. And now I'm gonna have to screw it into the plastic, so I gotta be careful that I'm not like totally destroying everything when I do this. But we'll go ahead and get the screws in just so. If they'll actually, well, I think I'll try a different screw first. Let's try the ones around the ports and see if those will go in. Okay. Okay, I'm going to just pause it right here. I'm going to stop it right here, and then I'm going to see if something feels like it's holding this down. It doesn't feel like it's sitting in there right. So just be a moment. Okay, what was causing the problem of this not quite getting in there right was the actual Nintendo 64 DD connector on the bottom was not lining up with the shielding, so it caused it not to like sit quite right in here, but now it's sitting right, so we're gonna put our screws in for now and see how it is. But hopefully the plastic doesn't crack too much when I put these in, because you know they're not pre-threaded or anything, so it might crack a little bit, but we'll see what happens. Worst case scenario, I can always like repair something in here, so let me go ahead and try putting all these screws in, and we will see how this turns out. So just be a moment. Okay, now I was able to get all the screws into here, and I'm going to try it without the factory light pipe and see how that works. As you can see in the back here, we have our AV port and we have our power port, and then the power supply is going to just like chunk into here. But yeah, that's basically what we have here. I'll press fit all the magnets later, but for now we have to go back and prep the top case, because here's our top case, and as you can see, it still has some support material in it, so we got to take care of that. Let me see, where's my clipper? Here's my clipper. So all I got to basically do is grab these pieces and just pull them out. There you go. So you just pull the support material out, and that's basically it. And then around the expansion port cover, there's a little bit here, because this was printed, if you recall correctly, this was printed upside down, and around the switch here, I think this is for the reset switch, there's a little bit of support material here. Yeah, there it goes. Just got to get that out, because otherwise, guess what? The buttons won't really fit so well. There. And let's get the stuff out of the expansion port cover. And to finish this off, at some point I'll probably, yeah, there's a little vent in there. That's kind of cool. See, there's a little vent in there. I guess it's to keep the expansion pack cool if it's in there, which I don't currently have an expansion pack for this, but I might steal the one out of my regular Nintendo 64 and use that for like the time being until I get one like dedicated to this console. But yeah, there we are. And let's, just for fun, let's kind of just test fit this to the rest of the system. Here's the thing, and then this will just go up like that. Yeah, there you go. Pretty nifty looking. See, that's what it's going to look like. But what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to get some of this extra material off the edge, and then I will see if I can, and you see the cartridge port goes through it nicely, but I will get some of the support material off the edge, and then we will press fit those magnets and see if we can get this guy all buttoned up. But as I said, I will eventually get a print a cover for the expansion port, but I don't have an expansion pack for this particular console just yet. But I'm going to go ahead and get all the junk off the edges, and then we'll be back. Okay, another quick thing I'm going to just show you here really quick is we got to get the brims away from our buttons here, because they were printed in the same way. So just peeling some of this extra material from around the buttons so they'll fit into place and we won't have a problem. Because all these are really going to do is basically this little piece of plastic on the button is just going to press the reset button. And then this one is going to slide the power button. So they're not really like mechanical parts per se. They're just basically pushing the buttons on the Nintendo 64 board, and they'll look like they're actual buttons here. But yeah, just like the slider on the Nintendo 64 thing, this is just gonna slide that power button back and forth. So that's all I wanted to say about that. And then when I get back here, I'll show you just quickly how I press fit those magnets. Okay, now these are my magnets here. We just got to get a few of them here. And now the important part is making sure these are the right way, because they would only attract a certain way. So this needs to be like that. So then when another magnet hits it, it goes like that. Not the other way, or, you know, they will retract each other. So it needs to be like that. And that side needs to be up. So what I'm basically going to do is take our bottom shell here, take that magnet, and then it just gets press fitted into here, which easier said than done on camera, but basically it just needs to be press fitted, which I so legitimately missed. But they'll get press fitted into these holes and then into the holes on the top. Look, I did one earlier and it worked, but it's just a bit of a pain in the neck because there's just barely enough room and they will legitimately be held there by the plastic. But I'm going to see if I can get those all press fitted, and then I will be back and we will take care of the switches. Okay, now as you can see, we have all the magnets in the top. I'll do the same with the bottom, then put it together, and then we'll take care of the switches. Okay, now we got the case pretty much together here. All we really have to do is take the power button here. That just kind of goes here. And then you just have to line it up with the little switch inside the system. And now it'll turn it off and on. And the reset button, which is somewhere around here. No, I have it here. Okay, here. That just has to go in, hopefully. Yep, there we go. And then push the tabs in the sides here, and that'll just actuate the reset button. I'm gonna have to take a little plastic off of that. And then, of course, the jumper pack. Jumper pack is in, and what I will simply do is later I will connect this to the TV and test it and see if everything is working. But yeah, that's all we're gonna do for now. And in the last segment of this video, you'll see me having it connected to the TV, and we'll see if this whole crazy build here actually works. Alrighty, be back at the TV then. Okay, and as you can see, we're in the middle bedroom here where I have the CRT set up, and we have our Nintendo 64 there. I'll take the tripod off to show it to you a bit closer before I'm done here, but just for example purposes, look, we can turn that on. You'll see the summer cart comes on and everything, and the little light comes on. So I didn't really need the factory light pipe as it's very bright. Just gonna come down to our TV here. I have a controller plugged in here, and we can go to Nintendo 64 ROMs. And just go to, we'll just run Super Mario 64 just for the heck of it, because it's the Nintendo 64 game, if you will.
It's me, Mario! Hello!
And there you go, our Nintendo 64, that's running the new case here. If you see, I'll zoom in a little. There it is, it's running the new case here. Everything's working well, everything's good. And just for fun, zoom out here. And then I'm going to turn this off. Let me just quickly grab a regular old cartridge here, since that's the summer cart. But just for fun, let me just grab any old game here and pop it in the system, just to show you that regular old cartridges, they work just fine. You don't need to have a Summer Cart 64 to do this 3D print mod to your 64 that might have a distressed case. Oh, okay, here we are. There's Duke Nukem 64. Gonna go ahead and put it into our system. Turn it on, and there you go. Regular old cartridge running on the modified new console here with the brand new 3D printed shell. And I just want to take you a look here. The reset button's a bit weird, so I'm gonna have to mess about with that and see what's going on there. But other than that, everything seems to be all right. You'll see I put some rubber feet on the bottom because then it won't slip on any surface. And the other thing is, if you noticed in the original video, the expansion pack, the jumper pack didn't seem to go down into it enough. It's because there was a bit of extra support material still in here that I actually got out, and now it's fine. But yeah, that's going to be all for this video. The Nintendo 64 with the new shell, everything has worked well, and we basically saved a totally almost destroyed console from the junk heap. Well, this has been another Game Nexus video, and I shall see you later. Bye.